Hello, my name is Jackson Atwood, and today I have a slide presentation on the Revolutionary War and the impact of war on American history. So let's jump right in. War affects every aspect of a nation. It can build or destroy a nation. It can build or destroy an economy, social life, politics. Every part of a nation is affected by war. One war that I want to talk about is the Revolutionary War to kind of get this point across of the deep impact a war can have on a nation. The Revolutionary War was the war that the American colonies, early colonies, fought to get independence from the British. George Washington was the leader of the Continental Army that fought. It was a much smaller army, almost a ragtag team, you could say. So they used things like guerrilla warfare and espionage to fight these larger British forces. So guerrilla warfare is just a form of unconventional warfare where small groups of irregular military use things like ambushes, sabotage, raids, petty warfare, hit and run tactics, and like a rebellion in order to fight a larger, more organized army and stuff like that. A quote from George Washington's Mount Vernon says Washington was also particularly adept at supplying the British with misinformation that purposely misled his enemies as to his true intentions. So it was very much so a war of the mind. They would use these tactics, they would use espionage, they would use spies, secret codes, dead drops, and double agents, anything to get the upper hand on the more established British forces. So that is kind of the tactics that the Americans used. But the Revolutionary War, the consequences of it affected the political sphere, the world, the standing of America in the world. We became a new nation. We gained independence. There became an increased participation in politics. Now people, after gaining independence, now people had the right to vote. There's all these things, so people were getting involved in politics. There was now laws to protect religion and things like this that are in place. The creation of state constitutions, states begin to draft constitutions and bills of rights and all of these things after gaining independence. So honestly, the Revolutionary War is had one of the biggest impacts on politics and the economy as we know it in America. Economic and social ramifications after gaining independence after the Revolutionary War, the growth of the population. There was a huge growth in population, and the population began to diffuse, particularly westward, began to grow. A quote from the American Yap: Even more broadly, the revolution ended the mercantilist economy, opening new opportunities in trade and manufacturing. So before the British had restrictions on the economy, limiting trade and settlement and manufacturing. After gaining independence, there's now new markets and trade relations and all these things. However, this article states when the fighting came to an end in 1781, the economy was in shambles. So the uh, gross domestic production in the United States actually dropped by nearly 30%. This is due to actual damage of property in the war, of war deaths, all these things. So the economy was heavily damaged during the Revolutionary War. However, it was able to then grow without these restrictions. It was able to grow freely without the restrictions of the British. So immediately following the war, there was a boom in the economy, but immediately there was almost like a depression in the economy, but then it grew and it boomed and became the economy we know today. The conclusion of this is war affects every aspect of a nation. The Revolutionary War was no exception. The Revolutionary War brought independence, economic changes, social changes, and political changes. Every major war has shaped the nation as we know it today. War is not simply something that is just battles that are fought and won and all these sort of things. It affects every aspect of the nation, every person. And the Revolutionary War is one great example of how deeply war has affected American history. The nation as we know it today was shaped largely by the wars that we have fought. These are the references, the sources that I cited during this presentation, and that is all I have for you today. Thank you very much.